Rising Flame presents Ending the Silence.
Hi, this is Gayathri Sridharan. I'm going to share my personal experience on discrimination. I'm a person with physical disability. I have been affected by polio since age 3. Um, I have seen discrimination all in my life. Throughout my life, I have seen discrimination from my childhood, getting into school, getting into college, getting into a job, everything. I've seen discrimination. In everywhere I have seen discrimination. I thought once I get educated, once I get into a job, once I get settled, I can come out of this discrimination. But it is all in dreams. In realistic life, it is altogether a different scenario. And I have seen heights of discrimination after joining my profession. After getting into a profession, I'm HR by profession basically. After 8 years of experience, my GM suddenly called me and said that you people are in HR and we need people for operations. And I have people in operations, but they are not always sitting in their chair. Specifically, they are not sitting in their chair, and I need a person like you because you will not get from your chair on and off. So I want you to take care of the job.
Violence has very much been part of my lived experience from a very young age. When it comes to disabled women, I think firstly we need to look at microviolence, violence in terms of everyday interaction and opportunity. The fact that most disabled women in my country do not have access to education, access to employment, access to the built environment, access to opportunities that most women take for granted is, in and of itself, a form of exclusionary violence.
19.2% of women live with a disability, yet they are invisible. Source: World Report on Disability by the World Health Organization and the World Bank, 2011. Women with disabilities are at a higher risk of violence than non disabled women, yet they are unheard. Source: SDGs, Inclusive Health and the Path to Universal Health Coverage.
Traveled by train, and we had a personal assistant with us to help us, and we were three of us who are persons with disabilities. So when we entered the railway station, I used to also walk with crutch, and I also use a wheelchair. So since one of my colleagues also wanted a wheelchair, I offered my wheelchair, and I was standing near a step, which is an entrance to the platform. Platform? The personal assistant has gone to drop my friend to the compartment. So I was standing there. So a passerby, I didn't even notice who was that, suddenly molested me, suddenly hit me on my breast, and he just vanished before I could realize what happened to me. And then I felt so bad after that for few days. Uh, I felt so unprotected. I felt so vulnerable in that situation because I also used crutch, and I couldn't run, or I couldn't even identify the person because I had to concentrate on my standing.
Like a new woman, affected sexual harassment in public places, people lynching at you. But for people with disabilities, especially for women with disability, most violence occurs within the home and the family, and the abuser is somebody either their family member or relative or caregiver, and in some situations the person has no choice because he or she is dependent on the abuser. What I want to say is people with disabilities, especially women with disabilities, are to be made aware of the violence. They must be allowed and they must have be empowered and encouraged to speak out without fear.
I had absolutely no idea of any of these things till actually I faced myself personal abuse for the first time when I got married. And just to give a little detail on that, is I got married, and within 2 hours of getting married, I discovered that it was the most horrendous mistake that I had made in my life. I spent my wedding night being thrashed, being abused, being lashed at, being threatened, and cleaning my groom's vomit, and the rest of it. And it put me into such a horrendous shock. For 5 years I just couldn't actually figure out what was happening to me, right? But I'm talking about it today. But we are trying to talk about abuse, we are talking about sexual abuse. I don't think a visually impaired or a disabled woman is ever going to come out and talk about her abuse, because whether it be sexual abuse or any other kind of abuse, she's not going to talk about it because she's going to face more of it. How do we expect her to talk about it?
I'd like to say that we're impatient, we're intolerant. We do not want to tolerate a behavior that tells us that you're less than woman, you're less than human being. We want to reclaim our right to privacy, to dignity, to respect, and our right to just be who we are and say no to any form of violence. It's not okay because women with disabilities are women too.
Women with disabilities featured: Gayathri Sridharan, HR professional; Niluka Gunawardena, disability rights activist and teacher, Sri Lanka; Jija Ghosh, former head of advocacy and disability studies in the Indian Institute of Cerebral Palsy; Meenakshi Balasubramaniam, Equal Center for Promotion of Social Justice; Preeti Monga, founder and CEO, Silver Linings; Nidhi Goyal, disability and gender rights activist, founder director, Rising Flame; editor, Preeti Shetty; conceptualization and production, Rising Flame team.